thank you all for being here today, taking time out of your busy work schedule to join us for what is going to be a ceremony to commemorate the opening of this brand new Fort Wayne Post and Fort Wayne Regional Laboratory. The building behind you has been our home since 1979, so a little over 40 years we've occupied that here in Fort Wayne. And prior to that, if anybody's familiar with the Fort Wayne area, on West Jefferson where Mike's Car Wash is, there used to be what looked like a ranch house, and that served as the post from 1958 until we opened here in 1979. Prior to that, I don't have the correct dates, I don't think, but we did have a barracks out at the air base that served as our post prior to the one on Jefferson Boulevard. But thank you all for being here today. We do appreciate it. I would introduce your speakers. They're going to come up here shortly. Indiana State Police Superintendent Doug Carter, District Commander for the Fort Wayne Post, Lieutenant Corey Culler. Major Steve Holland is our Laboratory Division Commander. And then we have representatives from Pepper Construction, which would be Eric Erfman. MWL is represented by Russell McElroy. And then Matt Nichols from Ratio will be speaking as well. I would also like to acknowledge several of our distinguished guests, to include members of the Indiana State Police Board, President James Alzowski, former Senator Tom Weiss, Emmett Carney, and David Graves. Also we have from the Indiana Department of Administration, Deputy Commissioner Brian Renner, Indiana Department of Administration Director of Public Works, Bob Grossman, Indiana Department of Corrections, Executive Director Kevin Orm. I'd also like to mention that Vincent Stanley from the Indiana Department of Corrections is here with us today as well. And as you tour through the building today, you'll see some of the, including this podium here, some of the fine woodworking that they've done. We have a memorial board that we display of all of our fallen troopers, all of our fallen personnel for the department in our lobby areas. And you'll note in here we have one setting up for display that's not quite finished, but beautiful work, and we'd like to thank them for being here and joining us today. Indiana State Department of Toxicology Director Ed Littlejohn, Allen County Commissioner Richard Beck, Fort Wayne Mayor Tom Henry, and then several of our federal and local law enforcement partners, including the U.S. Attorney's Office, Assistant U.S. Attorney Stacy Spieth, Fort Wayne Police Chief Steve Reed, New Haven Police Chief Jeff McCracken, and then Allen County Police Department Chief Deputy Troy Hirschberger. And we'd also like to thank our local media, our partners in doing this, and representing the programming here today and getting the message out for us. We do appreciate your help. So without further ado, I would ask that Chaplain Coffey join us for an invocation, a word of prayer.
Thank you, sir. Welcome this morning, and I invite you to pray. Almighty God, our Creator and Redeemer, on this beautiful autumn morning we gather to dedicate this structure and contents. We recognize the history of the Indiana State Police that has brought us to this point, to honor the legacy that we are entrusted to perpetuate, and to aspire to our continued excellence in service and professionalism in the future. We turn to you in gratitude and beseech thy blessings upon these premises dedicated this day for the purpose of implementing the latest knowledge of scientific principles and investigatory procedure that will be utilized therein. We also petition thy supernal blessing upon those who serve within these walls. Grace with favor the noble intentions of their hearts and the honorable work of their hands. Grant comfort and hope to those who seek the refuge of the laws of our society for which it represents. May this day be regarded not only as the day we dedicate this marvelous facility, but also the day that we be reminded of our continued dedication to integrity, loyalty, and community. Holy God, Holy Almighty, Holy Immortal, have mercy upon us and hear our prayer. Amen.
Thank you, Chaplain Coffey. Indiana State Police Superintendent Doug Carter.
I said I wasn't going to mention any names because I know I'll miss some, but I have to do it anyway. This whole day is a bit surreal to me, and as I look out, I see Bob Connolly, Ed Littlejohn, John Vanderkolk, Larry Turner, Ed Ryder. I mean, there's so many people here that have allowed us to do what we're currently doing, and it's been a long time in the making. One of my favorite people in the entire world is Brian Renner. Brian, raise your hand, please. Yeah, he hates that. He hates it, which is one of the main reasons I'm going to continue to do it. But 7.5 years ago or so, we realized that there's going to have to be a significant investment in our laboratory system because it serves every police agency in our state in a way that I am so grateful and so proud of and so envious of that words don't even begin to capture the important work that they do. And we thought, going into that legislative session all those years ago, let's see if we can get $10 million per building. And we thought we were close until we met with MWL. Very respectfully. And this turned into an absolute investment. But what you see here, I think, is probably the very best trio in the nation when it comes to building a building like this. We couldn't be more proud of you and proud of the relationship. And I'd be remiss to not mention my boss, the governor of the state of Indiana, Eric Holcomb, who believed in this. He believed in what Brian Renner said about the investment in here at this facility at Lowell and then down in Evansville in 2023, 2024. So it's almost an $80 million investment in these three buildings. And by the time we get to Evansville, it may be even more than that. And Stacy Hartman walked me through a little while ago, and I wish you all could have seen her. I wish you could have seen her face, realizing that DNA is no longer going to be done in a 15 by 10 room. It's going to have its own absolute space, and I'm so proud of that. ISP board members, you've got the patience of Job. I appreciate your guidance, your counsel, and all the things that you have helped me and help us do to get to this point, not just with the laboratory, the post, but all that you do to represent the ISP. Pepper Ratio and MWL, again, you'll hear from them. I couldn't be more proud of what they've created here in partnership with us. I never thought we'd get to where we are, but we did because of their commitment to us. Jerry Williams. Jerry, where are you? Yeah, he hates this too, so that's why I love doing it again. Jerry's probably one of the busiest guys on the Indiana State Police, Major Jerry Williams. From the very beginning of this, his partnership with Brian and DOA and the budget agency and all the things that were necessary. How he gets done when he gets done, I have absolutely no idea, but it's a pleasure and honor to serve with him. Derek Scott. Derek? Yeah, standing right next to Jerry. Derek's kind of been our point person here on this project, and he will be at Lowell, and he will be in Evansville, and we'll think of something else miserable we can do with him, and that's what else he'll be doing. But Derek has really taken this responsibility day to day and made it something really, really special. Richard Downing. Yeah, he hates it too. Yeah, Richard's back in the back with the gray shirt. Again, just the day-to-day flow and structure associated with this project, it's just been enormous. And it took all these people. Isn't that amazing? We can all function together and be kind? I don't know. That's awesome. Joe McGinnis from INDOT. Again, the partnership with INDOT is just something really, really special. We needed some concrete recently. Took a phone call, and all of a sudden it happened. It just very, very grateful to Joe, his entire staff. Is Kevin Orm here? Okay, Kevin was going to be here. Vincent Stanley. Is Vincent where? Yeah, right in the back. you look around and you see things like this that I'm standing at, and the partnership with INDOT or with DOC and what they've done for us is a debt that we can never ever totally repay. They made just some beautiful pieces of furniture for the superintendent's office and for general headquarters. And I went up to Pendleton to thank the inmates that did that work. And these people are lifers. The average age is probably, I don't know, 65 maybe. They've been incarcerated decades and decades and decades. But it was an extraordinary experience to see their commitment to something in their lifetime. And this is just an example of what I'm standing at today that was delivered this morning. I learned a lot about people when I spent some time up there with you, and the way you treat them and the way they treat you and the respect that they showed was something I'll always remember, so thank you. Kate Stewart, kind of the adhesive that holds everything together at this post. I understand we have a name for the cafe. It's called the Snarky Cafe. Yeah? I'm going to ask DOC, our friends there, to maybe come up with something special for you there. Yeah. But again, Kate is everywhere. She's absolutely everywhere. And again, the debt of gratitude is so very real. Troy, thank you very, very much. I'm very grateful that you took the time, Jeff. These local partnerships are so important to us. And it's so very important. Mickey James, did Mickey make it? Boy, is she in big trouble. Okay, I'll hold my thoughts for my CFO when I get back to Indianapolis later on. Anyway, that's again, all of this happens. So much happens behind the scenes, and as we stand here today, we moved into a new facility in 2007, the Indianapolis laboratory. But this is historic for us. We haven't built a post. Probably the last one was either Fort Wayne or Putnamville, I suspect. So this is a really big deal, not only for us, but for this community and for our local partners. And I'm the luckiest guy in the world because I have absolutely no idea how I ever became the superintendent of the state police. But it's been one hell of a journey, and I'm so proud of what it represents. And to be able to represent it at this level is something really, really special to me. I think you'll find when you go inside today that there has been tremendous thought and structure put into the development of not just the building, but more importantly, what the inside of the building means. And there's not a week goes by that I don't hear from a prosecutor or deputy prosecutor from around the state talking about the importance of the work that gets done and the testimony to put really bad people away for a really, really long time, which is exactly what we should be doing. And I'm not going to apologize for saying it. And so much happens behind the scenes here that matters so very, very much. There are some very complicated, complex, unsolved crimes in the state of Indiana right now, and most of you know what I'm talking about, in your own community or outside. They're going to get solved in this building, and I couldn't be more. I just could not be more proud of that. And I'll just say in closing, we found ourselves in a difficult period of time. Our entire planet is completely out of balance. And stop. We just all need to stop. I don't understand. I don't understand where it's going. I don't understand how we got here. But I know that this is not a sustainable path for us. In our profession right now, it's more important now than ever before that we have energy and the desire and the compassion to do this work. So as you get out there and around people within your communities, encourage them to think about this profession. Some say it's the worst time to be in it. I say it's the absolute best time to be in it. But we got to stick together. We don't have enough people. The ISP has the same number of troopers we did in 1984 when I started. But when we partner with local sheriffs and when we partner with our local agencies around the state, we have a lot of people. And that has to continue to happen. It has to continue to happen. And you can rest assured that it will as long as I'm here. We'll do everything that we can do to make sure that partnership stands. I think we're going to be okay as a country. I think we're going to be okay as a community. But I don't think we've felt the bleed yet. So I wish all of you the very, very best. Thank you for being here. I'm going to stick around afterwards, and I would love to interact with you and just simply tell you thank you. So with that said, I'll turn this back over to Brian.
Thank you, Superintendent. Lieutenant Corey Kohler.
Superintendent Carter, thank you very much, and thank you for your vision in making this happen. And to the team that made all of this happen, thank you so much. The Fort Wayne District encompasses 11 counties, so we cover a pretty large area, but when you bring the lab into it, what is it, 18 total? But what we have forgot, Brad Dean, Justin Yohe, thank you for RDC. We also house a regional dispatch center here. They cover the Peru district as well. And so they keep troopers safe in the Fort Wayne district and all the way over to the Peru district. So thank you very much for what you do. We have the largest geographical footprint of all the districts in the state, covering that many counties. And this new post is going to be home to so many troopers coming in, and all of our partners in the local agencies. Everybody's going to be welcome coming here. We also have other troopers in other divisions, like commercial motor vehicle divisions. We have specialty teams that are housed here. The SWAT team guys live in this district. EOD lives in this district. We have hostage negotiators. So the state police encompasses a whole mass of different specialty teams and different divisions right here in this building. During your tour and after following the ribbon cutting, there's going to be several troopers that live and work here. Feel free to ask them questions. Get to know who your local troopers are. There's going to be civilians that work in the lab that are going to be around giving some tours and kind of giving you an insight of what they do on a daily basis. I've seen the excitement on their faces, especially from the lab folks, to get out of their small confined area into this big building. It's going to be a great improvement, and you guys are going to love it inside there. Every time I walk in, it's like a huge football field from one end to another. It's great. One other thing that I wanted to mention, not to overshadow this event, but Allen County Commissioner Rich Beck is here today, and he's done something very special for this post. We had a young rookie trooper named Corey Elson that was killed in Decatur many years ago, and Commissioner Beck made it possible to have a couple signs hung up today. There's one sign at the end of the road down here, and there's one at the other end, and what it says is Trooper Corey R. Elson Memorial Way. So thank you so much for doing that. This is very special. He's also made 3 of these, and I'm going to give to the family. So thank you for that as well. I couldn't be more proud to be the district lieutenant of Fort Wayne. We've got many detectives and troopers that work here that do just an outstanding job day in and day out. While we're sleeping, they keep our community safe every single day, and you should be proud of what they do in this district. So thank you very much.
Laboratory Division Commander, Major Steve Holland.
Good morning. Actually, this is a great morning for the laboratory in particular. And Superintendent touched on a few things that I'd just like to give some more insight into. It was actually March 2014 when you and I met in your office, and the purpose of which was to discuss the viability of the laboratory as we move forward in the next generations. In particular, the status of our current facilities at Evansville, Fort Wayne, and Lowell. These facilities, as you heard, are 40 plus years old. And the majority of our conversation was just about that, because we are out of space, we are out of power. Our production capacity in the laboratory currently with these existing buildings does not meet the demand from our contributing agencies so that we could produce the timely results that everyone wishes and needs, as do we, for the criminal justice community. So there were some long discussions during that meeting, but I'll never forget the finger pointing you gave me and said, I want a needs assessment from the laboratory as soon as we can possibly get one done so that we can move forward. That was not what I expected, but it was daunting, and it started this chain of events
to lead us to where we're at here today. That next month, April, we had that report completed for you, and we gave an oral presentation of it to you, and you invited then Brian Renner, who became our partner at that time from the Department of Administration as we move forward, and that was when the decision was made to pursue this. And looking back to 2014 to where we're at now, it just seems like it was yesterday. But a lot of meetings, a lot of effort has gone through. But the next step came legislative support, and in particular support from our governor, that provided the initial funding that was used to produce what we call an external needs assessment, and that's when our partners at MWL, McLaren, Wilson, and Lowry Architects came on board, and they conducted that external assessment, and there were three things that come from that. Number one, it verified and gave validity to our own internal needs assessment, because the things that we identified were confirmed through what Russell and his group did. But secondly, there was a decision made that the best way to move forward was to keep the regionalized approach in our laboratory system to best serve our client agencies. So that decision was made then to keep facilities at Evansville, Lowell, and here, Fort Wayne, so that we had that common in place partnerships that we already had that we could bolster. And lastly, Russell's group identified significant efficiencies by including the post operations and the regional dispatch center into the building design. This building, being 45 years old, as you heard, is at a point where there's going to have to be significant mechanical work done here. So the economy of scale of doing that versus including into those functions into the new building became clear that what the right decision was, and it was made. So again, that was done at the support of the Superintendent and Brian Renner to make sure that happened. So the next step from that was design, and that's where the core groups became in play. We had a core group for the laboratory, which is myself and Captain Sid Newton and our subject matter experts. We had a core group from the post, which was Majors Esslinger and Casto, as well as Jerry Williams. And then we had a core group that was associated for the Regional Dispatch Center, which was at the time now retired Major Mike White. So that was what initiated the design work, and that included trips we made to Ohio, Michigan, Illinois, Kansas, Minnesota, Wisconsin, and other places to look at national best practice on laboratory or public safety designs. And what you're seeing here on the outside and what you'll see on the inside is just that. This building was designed at national best practice, which will make our operations as efficient and effective as we can possibly be with our staff. Another significant event happened at the design. That's when our partners from Ratio and Pepper Construction came on board, and then the design work went to the level to start the construction. And then the next thing was not a great thing, but the next thing that happened was COVID. So that the initial plan, we were literally 2 months from digging dirt here as well as Lowell at the same time. COVID hit, and we were asked to take a more conservative approach due to the financial insecurities and things that were associated with COVID, which probably was the prudent thing to do. So we were still blessed to be able to start here. To complete this building, and I'm happy to say that even though we didn't start Lowell at the same time, the bulldozers are there this week turning dirt. So with the blessing of the governor and our leadership, we're able to move these projects forward. That building should be finished within a year, and hopefully about this time next year we'll be talking about this same thing at Evansville. So it's a blessing, and we're very humbled that based upon that circumstance we were allowed to continue at all. So here we are. I mean, this is a fantastic step one of our three-step process to replace our aging crime laboratories, so we can hire additional staff, purchase the additional instrumentation it'll take to support that staff, so that we can better serve your needs. And that's why the crime laboratory exists. And just a couple special notes before I close. Superintendent made mention, we have my predecessors here. We have retired Major Bob Conley, retired Major, Ed Littlejohn, and the retired lab manager from here, John Vanderkolk. And I want to point them out because I found historical documents that through your vision during your tenures has led us here. Your outlook of what you saw the laboratory needing to do during your time is incorporated in this building. I want you to have an understanding that you have as much ownership of this building as we do. So thank you. Next, our staff. I can't thank you enough for your patience and understanding getting through the COVID year without missing any production time, as well as all the good problems that we had dealing with the construction here while you're trying to do your work. Has been nothing short of remarkable. So I can't be more happy to see the looks on your face when you walk in here to see your workspaces. You deserve it. And lastly, to the superintendent again, I can't thank you enough for your your day one support of the laboratory. And I just want you to understand that as you cut this ribbon, you're not just cutting this ribbon to open a door to this new building. You're actually cutting this ribbon to open a building that incorporates national best practices to allow us to become as efficient and effective as we possibly can in a laboratory setting, all to the national best practices that we strive to, and all of which is a long way of saying so that we can better serve the needs of this community, criminal justice community in Northeast Indiana. So, thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Major. MWL, you want to go? Sure. We'll do that first. From MWL Architects, Russell McElroy.
So I'm Russell McElroy. My firm is MWL Architects. We're architects that specialize in designing for the forensic sciences. As of today, we've done about 140 different forensic labs around the country. But I can tell you this, we have not met a more special crew to work for than here with ISP. The team members that we had an opportunity to meet and travel around the state, driving from Indianapolis to Fort Wayne to Lowell and then back to Evansville and then back to Indianapolis. We did that circle 2 or 3 times just to have a chance to meet with all of the staff members. So working with Major Holland very closely has been really a life-changing event for me because it helps to define what I think law enforcement should be. And you guys have really done that. The superintendent's support that he's been giving down the chain has been wonderful. The laboratory staff members, please stand up. You got to stand up. You're not going to like it, but I'm asking the laboratory staff members. Yeah, I know. It's like the Brian Renner thing. You can't put your hand up. So we had a chance, and we made it very important that we come around and we meet with the lab staff members. And each of them, if they were here during the design process, had opportunity to inject their thoughts and create design ideas that were incorporated into each of the 3 buildings that we're planning to build. It's important for us to do that because as you walk around in the old building and you see their drug analysis laboratory and how it's set up today, in 35, 40 years, things have changed a lot. And so a GC gas chromatograph then didn't exist, but now it does. And so we've incorporated those into the building. When you walk your way through the building, please look at the details because you'll find that this is also designed to last that 35 to 40 years. Brian Renner and Bob, you guys are awesome from a state standpoint, from the construction side. Always a pleasure to work with you guys. And then Sid, Jerry, Major Holland, and Eric Lawrence, who's retired now. We did those whirlwind tours together. You really get a chance to meet those guys, and I can tell you, you have some fine folks working for you here. Thank you for giving MWL the opportunity to work together with wonderful staff members, and I hope for the next time period that you work with ISP that you'll enjoy this building and it will help you make your science much better.
I'll now introduce you to Eric Erfman from Pepper Construction.
I'm Eric Erfman with Pepper Construction. It's been an honor to be a part of this project. Chris Rayner wasn't able to be here with us. Chris has some background in the state police. His father actually was a officer in the Greensburg area that a lot of guys here probably would know his name. He was killed in the line of duty. Unfortunately, he was on vacation today, so they threw me into the spotlight here at the last second. Richard was called out earlier with Pepper Team, and Jacob and Jacob Ellis is here. Those guys are the true guys that built this facility, and then they're going on to the next facility. And Superintendent Carter said one thing that resonated with me sitting over there. The teamwork that we experienced here was unlike any other. Building a lab building and the setting and all the components that go into it to make it work and function properly are the key components. And the team here with Ratio, MWL, ourselves, ISP, IDOA, it truly is a great team, and we look forward to taking that team on to the Lowell project. That will be the same team from Pepper, and we look forward to going down to Evansville after that. So I appreciate and an honor to be here, and I'll turn it back over to.
And then lastly, Matt Nichols from Ratio Designs.
Thank you. Last but not least, before we cut the ribbon and enter this building, I'll say a little bit about the building behind us. First of all, I want to say a thank you to the entire ISP and IDOA team for the honor of working alongside you in this design and construction process. My name is Matt Nichols, as mentioned, project architect with Ratio Design. We're a multidisciplinary design firm headquartered in Indianapolis. The team from Ratio had the privilege of acting as the lead designers locally for the project, casting the vision and orchestrating the process. It truly has been a pleasure to help bring the needs of the Indiana State Police from concept to reality over the past 3 years with this forensic laboratory and post behind us. A special thanks to Pepper Construction, who led and managed the construction effort and their tireless dedication to keeping the project moving during this most unprecedented global moment. This project would also not have been possible without our team of skilled knowledge experts, including civil engineering by Kripe, MEP design and engineering by Circle Design Group, technology design by Design 27, structural engineering by Finks Robertson Petrie, and interior design by Guidon Design. And last but certainly not least, our critical partnership with MWL Architects, the public safety and forensic science designers, and genuine unrivaled body of knowledge experts who worked closely with ISP to uncover the critical needs and formulate an optimized staff-focused and best practices facility. Throughout the design process, the heritage and tradition of the Indiana State Police truly formed the language of this building from inside and out. Working within the framework of this layout driven by the forensic sciences and post-operations, Ratio took inspiration from the heritage and tradition of the State Police color scheme and shield and the insignia that you all wear. Each major entrance combines the blue field of glass with the gold accents in the canopies and the framing as a greeting into the building, representative of the insignia every trooper wears, all contained within the solid precast concrete walls, projecting strength and integrity. The new post and lab builds upon the language of the existing facility in its appearance and construction, much like the State Police today build upon the foundations laid by those that have come before them. It is an honor to have served ISP alongside my colleagues and fellow designers to bring this building to life. We hope this building serves its purpose well to allow all of you to continue in your daily service. Thank you.
One thing I missed when I was up here earlier, I didn't even look to my right and saw Brad Dean. Brad, raise your hand, please. This building was never designed to be a dispatch center, and at least not to the size that it is today. We'll leave the right or wrong decision to everyone and your own opinion about what happened back in 2009. But but they've made it work inside this building. And to see them move over into this facility, into a state-of-the-art room with technology and room to move in an appropriate space, is a really, really big deal. Oftentimes they're looked past, and the first line to everything that we all do is those folks that sit in here and listen and communicate and direct, and then everybody forgets about them. So I did not want to do that today. So thank you very, very much. Thank you.
Our production capacity does not meet the demand for our services. And with these 45-year-old buildings that we're replacing, we do not have the space to hire additional staff, or if we would hire staff, we don't have the power and supply needed to support those staff. So it's simple math. We're receiving more than we can currently produce, and that's not to our mission. We're not best serving our contributing agencies by that. So in order for us to turn that around, the only option that we had was to create additional workspace, a modern workspace, so we could become efficient, hire additional staff to meet those demands. And this is the first step of 3 in order for us to get our entire system in place to do that.
It's kind of euphoric right now. I've got to kind of pinch myself to realize this is actually happening. And it's not just about the facade of the building and the nice things that are in it. It's about what it represents and what we're going to be able to do inside this building to bring conclusions, some closure, convictions of some of the worst criminals in the state. This is the only place that does it, and I'm really proud of it. This is really not about us. The space is the space. It's a great facility for our troopers to be able to work out of, but it's really for our communities and for those that have been victims or have had family members that are victims of very, very violent crime. And I think you ask 99 out of 100 people dressed like me, they tell you the same thing. It's not about us. It's about what we represent, what we're capable of doing for other people, not for ourselves.